First thing, don't let the adrenaline get to you. Breathe slow, breathe deep, relax.
Now before we get started, everybody just take a nice deep breath, because in a few minutes the hype levels are going to be going through the roof. Anyways, welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, to another very exciting Spider-Man PS4 related video. And even though we recently did not receive any new updates regarding Marvel's Spider-Man at the PlayStation State of Play live broadcast, there is some really interesting developments going on over at Insomniac Game Studio. Specifically, if you're someone in particular who does want to enter the gaming industry and mainly work for an awesome company like Insomniac Games, I highly recommend that you check out their job listings. And not only are there multiple spots open for both gameplay animators and artists, but they also fully describe what the responsibilities of said job are going to be. And in case you missed it, two primary Insomniacs in this case of Andrew Garber and Ryan Benno, who are both respectively a gameplay animator and a senior environment artist, did post about these jobs on their Twitter pages. But what interests me the most about these two Insomniacs posting about the job and the details that come along with it is the keywords that they use to describe them, which we will talk about later. But seeing how Insomniac are indeed looking for more individuals to join their ranks definitely makes me feel confident that they are working on their next big project. And yes, I am aware that this could be for literally any game that they are working on within their studio, either a sequel to Sunset Overdrive, which they did discuss in a previous article that they did want to work on, or another Ratchet & Clank game, or possibly even a new IP. But given all the games they've developed throughout the years, specifically the one that made the most money last year is definitely making me feel like this is indeed referencing the sequel to Spider-Man PS4. And once again, even though it's not officially confirmed that it is referring to Spider-Man PS4's sequel, the description of the jobs themselves definitely make me feel confident that it is. So to start off with, the tweet that Andrew posted out relating to his department is within animation, where he states, "Animators. Insomniac Games is looking for an awesome gameplay animator to help us out on a new project. Apply here." And sure enough, if you do click on the link that Andrew left, it will send you to a gameplay animator job that Insomniac are looking for within their studio in Burbank, California. And alongside fully breaking down all the education and experience you do need to apply for this job, it also fully breaks down what the responsibilities and duties are for the job in general. But as for the main description as to what this job entails, it does state Insomniac Games is looking for a gameplay animator to join our animation team and focus on creating high-quality animations of 3D realistic characters, weapons, vehicles, and cameras for gameplay sequences. We are primarily looking for experienced gameplay animators that are comfortable working with designers and programmers to develop character state flow sets for enemy combat and living world animation sets. And of course, as the essential duties and responsibilities section of this job come into play, they do state creates high quality gameplay and cinematic animations using hand key animation and motion capture data, a working knowledge of cinematography and editing skills, as well as use of sound and animation, successfully implements characters using all the necessary tools including proprietary software, ability to manipulate motion capture data within Maya and Motion Builder to achieve desired performance while maintaining the integrity of the base mocap data. And as for the last 2 points, you need to have the ability to animate a variety of facial expressions and performances, as well as other duties may be assigned to this specific task. So as you might think right now, this job's description might seem like that of any other game company out there, but the keywords that relate to what games Insomniac mainly work on is the fact that they are looking for someone who can implement characters, gameplay, and cinematic animations. As for what point that stands out the most within the job description is quote-unquote creating high-quality animations of 3D realistic characters, weapons, vehicles, and cameras for gameplay sequences. Not to mention that they're also looking for an animator who can create flow sets for enemy combat and living world animation sets. And even though this all could easily relate to a possible sequel to Sunset Overdrive or another installment within their Ratchet & Clank franchise, I do think this primarily relates to the inevitable sequel of Spider-Man PS4. As for what senior environment artist Ryan Benno states about these jobs over on Twitter is saying something relating to his field of development. So Ryan went on Twitter the other day and stated, "We have a few environment art positions open, senior and associate level artists. We just opened some slots today for associate outsourcing artists. This is a great way to get your foot in the door in AAA." So where the job that Andrew posted about mainly related to gameplay gameplay animation, Ryan's job that he posted about primarily relates to an artist focusing on associate outsourcing. And once again, this job is also located at Insomniac Studio within Burbank, California, which is also another important point which we will discuss later. So with a much shorter bio this time around, this job's description states Insomniac Games is looking for an associate outsource artist. They'll be responsible for working with external vendors who will create assets to be used by the environment art team. And again, the essential duties and responsibility tab for this job states creates briefs to send to the vendors with guidance from outsourcing manager, provides feedback to vendors at key stages of asset creation, low poly, high poly / sculpt, material bake, and final delivery, helps direct vendors work on multiple asset types, including but not limited to hard surface, organic, vegetation, vehicles, materials, and graphic design, under guidance and direction from OS manager, art director, and lead artists. Delivers physically based material feedback to vendors. Optimizes and polishes assets after external delivery, including UVs, baking, material and texture adjustments, and optimization. And for the last 2 points, this employee is required to maintain consistent style under the direction of the art director and lead artist, and of course other duties may be assigned to this task. Now this job in particular primarily relates less to the inevitable sequel of Spider-Man PS4, since it can easily be labeled to any other game that they could be working on. Still, if you are someone who is interested within this type of job, especially if you do want to try and work for Insomniac Games, I highly recommend that you apply for this one as soon as possible. Now, after going over the responsibilities of both these jobs, I do want to point out two very important key factors relating to the Twitter post as well as the job's description. Now, if we look back at Ryan Beno's tweet going over the outsourcing artist job, he does directly say, quote unquote, "This is a great way to get your foot in the door in AAA." And even though there are other titles like Sunset Overdrive or the most recent Ratchet & Clank game on the PS4 could be considered AAA titles, the one that relates to this category the most is of course Marvel's Spider-Man, meaning that this outsourcing job doesn't directly relate to some other run-of-the-mill game, but rather one that will be treated with extreme quality. And seeing how great New York looks in Spider-Man PS4 already, I have no doubt that they will probably need even more artists to make it look even better by the time the next game comes out. But as for the main job that is the most important out of these two, is obviously the one that Andrew Garber posted about, looking for another gameplay animator. Now, even though this key term is definitely a given, looking at how Andrew posted about it on Twitter, Insomniac in general are looking for a gameplay animator to work on a brand new project that they are currently working on. And knowing that this fully echoes back to what an Insomniac Games employee told me at GDC, is that they are currently done with all the extra content within Spider-Man PS4 and have now moved on to their future projects. Especially knowing that the game is the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive of all time and the best selling superhero game ever made, I definitely think one of their future projects obviously relates to the sequel of Spider-Man PS4. And even though this last point is a minor one, I do have to point out once again that both of these jobs are indeed located within the Insomniac studio in Burbank, California. And if you're unaware, Insomniac does have two studios, with their main one located in Burbank, California, and the secondary one in Durham, North Carolina. But if you are aware of Insomniac's game development within their studios, you will know that the main studio that they developed Spider-Man PS4 in is indeed the one within Burbank, California. Even though the Durham, North Carolina studio did help out when developing Spider-Man PS4 before its release, the main studio that focused fully on that game during that time is indeed the one in Burbank. So seeing that both of these jobs do reside within the California area just makes this even more interesting, to say the least. And given how Brian Intihar himself was teasing about crafting the sequel's script only a few months ago, I don't think it's too far-fetched to think these jobs do relate to the potential sequel of Marvel's Spider-Man. But until we do receive an official reveal of Spider-Man PS4's sequel either in 2020 or 2021, we'll just have to wait and see as to what Insomniac is currently working on. But with all that said, everyone, that's the video I have for you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. What do you think about these two job listings that Insomniac are looking for within their Burbank studio, and do you think that it does in fact relate to the sequel of Spider-Man PS4? Knowing how financially and critically successful Spider-Man PS4 was on its own merit, I think it would be absolutely foolish if they were not to make a sequel for the game, especially seeing how they teased one by the end of the first one. And if you are someone who truly wants to enter within the gaming industry or try and apply for one of these jobs, I will leave a link to both of them in the description below. But until next time, true believers, stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.
You keep that up and you'll be fine. All right, lesson's over. Gotta go. Hey, thanks. You know, anytime.